Okay, good evening gentlemen, welcome on board. This evening we are parked at position Sierra 344, so we will be cleared to push back and face to the southeast. Alright, engine start sequence will be 4, 3, 2, then 1. On the taxi out we'll follow the green lines as per ATC instructions for runway 30. Our threats this evening, we are in a very busy area. The sun is obviously going down, so it'll be night time by the time we take off. There is a training school nearby, and they have warned on the ATIS of birds in the vicinity of the airfield. Alright, our weather this evening, weather out of Al Maktoum is great. Nothing to prevent us from coming back to land should we need to. Weather en route we have discussed. There's a possibility of a jet stream over India, and going into Hong Kong we'll obviously update as we get closer, but for the moment it looks good. Once we have lined up on the runway, we will stop for any problem before 80 knots. Between 80 knots there will be engine fire, engine failure, wind shear, or aircraft is unsafe to fly. Between 80 knots and V1. After V1 we will continue. The the aborted takeoff procedure will be, you will take control, simultaneously close the thrust levers, disconnect the auto throttle, confirm maximum braking, manually raise the speed brake, and use reverse thrust up to the maximum consistent with conditions. I will notify ATC we are stopping on the runway and to please stand by. We will assess the problem, see what we need to do, and vacate the runway if necessary.
Questions at the present time? Thanks very much.
That
okay,
checks. Right.
Dimitro, any questions from your part?
No questions.
Lovely,
no questions.
very good. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, sir.
Hi guys, okay, tonight's flight, we have a crew of Mark and Dimitro, two first officers, myself, I'm Rod Cadman. We are taking this 747-400 from here in Al Maktoum, which is the secondary airport in Dubai at the present time, and we're going to head towards Hong Kong for this evening. Initial cruise probably about 370, we are actually able 39, so we're maybe going up there. Weather en route is good. It's pretty clear all the way through Myanmar and into China, so looking good for that. We should be arriving on, we anticipate 07 left at Hong Kong. And our flight time this evening is 6 hours and 43 minutes. Thanks very much, I hope you enjoy it. Ground, if you can advise when you are ready for engine start.
You're clear to start engine sequence.
Okay, sir. Be 4, 3, 2, 1. Starting 4.
Check. Starting engine number 4.
Thank you. %. We got N1.
Uniform Tango Alpha 736, request pushback and setup.
We're starting number 3.
Alpha
3, please.
Starting number 3.
Request pushback and setup, UTR 736.
Uniform Tango Alpha 736, push to approved, face east.
And stable, and we got oil
Pushback
pressure.
approved, face east, UTR 736.
Okay, you happy with where we're going to taxi?
Yes, sir. Basically straight ahead.
We're basically going straight down here.
Yeah.
And the last turn towards the runway is Whiskey 21. Victor 21 is the holding point, runway 30.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Lights are going off.
All right.
Okay, we're well clear of personnel, so I'll put terrain on my side.
Checks.
8092.
Weather on the right.
Sierra 444 Romeo, information is November, request departure clearance to Paris.
9238 Mike Tiger, reaching Victor 21, line up on runway 30.
Reaching Victor 21, we are cleared to line up and wait, runway 30. 9238 heavy.
Before takeoff checklist, please.
Before takeoff checklist reads, sorry, let me just get myself a light here. Before takeoff checklist, flaps.
10 planned, 10 set.
Checks before takeoff checklist complete. And we are cleared to line up and wait. We have weather and terrain.
UTR 736, contact Mike Jim radar 140 small 025.
On the runway we'll go to TARA and straight right on.
025, stay there, 736.
Okay, stop bars are out.
Check.
Approach is clear. One aircraft departing.
Check.
On the left, and we are cleared to enter line up runway 30 via 21.
Over.
9238, 729 degrees 10 knots, 1830, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 30, 9238. Okay, so the inboard lights can go on?
Yep.
Is that correct? Check. Okay, we are cleared for takeoff, sir. Checklist all complete.
Dimitri, are you happy?
Yep, everything's fine.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, 30 is good. Your flight controls by thrust levers.
My flight controls.
Thrust is set. $80 knots.
Checks.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up. Call nav.
Check.
Thrust reference, we know speed.
Checked.
(9238) contact Maximum radar 124.025.
124.025. 923. Good.
Select the autopilot on the right, please, Ron.
Autopilot right.
Command.
Checked.
9238 heavy, Maximum radar, good day, radar contact. Climb I'm sector 2, altitude 12,000 feet, the QNH is 1013. Cancel speed to 6.
flaps 5.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
And after takeoff checklist, Pushback.
After takeoff checklist. Landing gear is up and off. Flaps are up. After takeoff checklist is completed.
Thank you.
Contact Bahrain Control 120.3 master.
120, 350, Terra 36. Good descent.
UK 736 120.3.
120.8, Terra 36.
Okay guys, so we're on our way now to Hong Kong. We're up in the cruise at flight level 390. But I just thought I'd go through the initial part of our departure with you. We were basically parked in this area here, which is the freight area, mainly. And then we pushed back onto the taxiway Zulu. This is Zulu, this one along here. It parallels all the way along, right to the end. And then we went via Whiskey 21 to Victor 21, Victor 21 being the holding point for runway 30. Lined up for our takeoff. The next part of our departure, once we're airborne, is our SID. And the SID we were using tonight, if you can see this, is 20-3 Charlie, which Mark very kindly briefed for us. A very good job he did too. It's the Nolsul 3 Lima departure. It's an RNAV departure. Initial altitude, climb altitude is 3,000 feet, which is why we had it set on the MCP. This is the MCP here. So the Nolsul 3 Lima departure has us climbing straight ahead runway heading to Kirkuk, which is 2,000 feet above. But if you look here, there's a speed limit, 220 knots. So what we got to do is we got to make sure that we actually don't exceed 220 knots all the way around that turn. So we put in 220 knots, 2,000 above, and then we're to lock it in to make sure it doesn't come out. We put in a below as well. Then we come to Delta Whiskey 552, 3,000 above. Again, we're holding the 220 knots, so we put in 9,000 below. And then Delta Whiskey 465, maximum of 220 knots, 4,000 above, 11,000 below. Once we cross that, then we start off on 423 all the way along here, Alado to Nolsul, and we have to be above flight level 150. Now what actually happened on our departure, very kindly, the controller for Al Maktoum Airport said, you've got unrestricted climb. We did an unrestricted climb, if I remember rightly, initially to 12,000 feet, so altitude of 12,000, and he also took out our speed limits. So we no longer had to observe this 220 knots. The reason the 220 knots is in there is because of the rate of turn. If you're very high speed, the aircraft will have to turn earlier to get itself around on these. And instead of doing a kind of a parallel, if you like, it doesn't. It does almost a circle round at a higher speed. But we were cleared for that, so that's exactly what we did. Now, we're on our way. And after Nolsul, which was the end of our departure, which you'll see is here, we're then into Muscat airspace. We're now with Muscat. We're heading towards a point called Raski, which is here. Raski will go into Mumbai, so we're going to Indian airspace. We'll route all the way here, and we'll change to another frequency called Ahmedabad, which is still part of Indian airspace. We'll go on to, after Ahmedabad, to Nagpur and then Kolkata. We'll continue across. Once we get out of position Sumag, which is just around here, so Sumag is here. Then we go into Bangladesh. Bangladesh, we route across Chittagong. Chittagong, quite an interesting place. If you've ever looked on the internet And you've seen where they scrap the ships? Well, that's where it is, Chittagong. They drive them up on the beach and then cut them up. Yeah, daylight, you can actually see them all lined up there. Chittagong, we then at Chilla, changed to Myanmar. That's the old Burma. Myanmar, we route all the way through until we get to this point, Linso. So after that, all our way is in China airspace. Basically, it starts to get interesting here. So position Sierra, which is here, that's where we're going to join into Hong Kong airspace. And we're going to route around like this. We'll come back into here. We'll route just up through here. This is Lantau Island. So we come through here, and then we'll come on to final approach for Hong Kong. But I'll come back to you with that, and we can perhaps talk about the arrival later. Okay, hi everybody. Just a bit of an update now on our flight and how we're doing. We're now just cross position Linso. We're with China air traffic now with Kunming. And one of the interesting things about going into China airspace is that actually we change from feet to meters. So instead of flying at 410, we're actually flying at 411, which if you look here is 12,500 meters. So China airspace is in meters rather than feet, which is a little unusual. One of the few places that's similar to that. Whilst we've been cruising up here, myself and Mark have been doing fuel checks. We do that on our flight plan. This is the flight plan that we keep, and every 30 minutes we do a fuel check to see whether we're losing fuel or gaining fuel. And at the moment we're actually 3.6 tons up on fuel. So that's pretty good. It's because we're higher than the flight plan level, which was 370. We also keep a monitor on our timing, whether we're behind the flight or ahead of the flight. Apart from that, we also go into the ACARS system here, and we use that to get updated weather along the way. So we can check various airports along the way to see what their weather is, in case we had to make a diversion. But also, more importantly, we can check our weather for our arrival, which is Hong Kong. And we can see from this that, in fact, they're planning the arrival is going to be runway 07 left. Runway 07 right, which is the southerly runway, is in fact closed for maintenance. And the wind at the moment, 080 at about 10 knots. There's rain, and the cloud is few at 800 feet. So it's actually not too bad. It's pretty reasonable weather for a morning arrival into Hong Kong, very typical of this time of year. For our arrival itself, as we know it's now 07 left, the runway in use, we'll be making the approach on this plate, which is 10-2 November. And Mark will be briefing us on this a little bit later on. He's already got it in the box, and he'll be doing other bits and pieces for his arrival, as he's the pilot flying. But basically, we're going to come into this position here, Sierra. We go down to Canto. There you can see we have to be above flight level 130. Murray, we have to be between 130 and 110. Then we go to Silver, and then Limes. And this is the airport here. And then we go to the approach, and this is the actual approach. So that's plate 11-9. And this is the ILS approach for runway 07 left. So from our position Limes, we're going to go to Tutma, Victor Hotel 701, Victor Hotel 702. We have to be 1,500 feet there. That's the final platform altitude, and then down to the runway. And this other line here that you can see, the dotted line going round, is the missed approach. So if we don't make the landing, or there's something that may be blocking the runway, air traffic or us will make the decision to go around. If it's a blocked runway, it's probably air traffic who'll tell us. If it's us, if we're not stable, what we call a stable condition on the approach, then we'll make a missed approach, and we'll basically follow this diagram here. That's also in the box. So it's automatically navigated. We just select the LNAV, and then we've got all our missed approach in there. Other than that, if everything goes well, which I'm sure it will, and Mark does a good job, we're going to be landing on this runway here. You can see the length of the runway. It's 12,467 feet, 3,800 metres. We're going to be very, very light, in fact, because we don't have any cargo on board. So we're going to be about 289 tonnes, something like that, which for this aeroplane is extremely light. Our maximum landing weight is 295 tonnes. So we'll plan to vacate on Charlie 7. So when we set the auto brakes for the landing, we'll be working on trying to clear it for Charlie 7. And then they'll send us down Yankee or Zulu, Foxtrot probably, Tango. This is then cutting across the main passenger area, because we're going to the cargo side, which is down here. So we go probably down Tango, cross to Juliet, come along Juliet, Juliet 6, cross the runway, Kilo 4, and then we'll enter our Lima 1, Lima 2 or Lima 3 to the parking area here. And at the present time, we're estimating to arrive into Hong Kong at 21:03, which is here. We have 809 miles to run, and we're anticipating that we're going to land with about 29.8 tonnes of fuel. So, flight's going well, we're looking good, hope you're enjoying it.
Guangzhou Control, yeah, wind 3927, maintain 1,000 meters, Cox 7402, direct to Noma.
13927, Roger, ready to
Wind 3927.
Right here, 13905, and Hong Kong 127.55.
Check. 7,500 is 24.6.
24.6 checks.
I'll give you direct to Sierra.
Alright, thank you. 24.600 and
Is verified.
and selected. Thrust VNAV speed.
238, after Limes, descend to 2,000 feet via Tutsla, cleared Alice from Israel 7 left.
Oh, Roger, sir. So present time we've got 8,000. Are we clear below 8,000?
Yes, sir, cross Limes at or above 4, descend to 2, and then cleared Alice from Israel 7 left via Tutsla.
2,500.
Okay, that checks. Alright, let's go gear down, please. Speed VNAV path.
1,500.
Sir, Hong Kong 204, leaving 9,000 feet, clear direct to Rassi. Leaving 9,000 feet, direct Rassi, Hong Kong 204, thank you.
Localizer.
Okay.
Approach mode is armed and flaps to 20, please.
Flaps.
Express Cargo 515, departure, good morning, identified.
160 set.
All right.
238, Hong Kong Tower, good morning, wind 07 degrees, 5 knots, runway 07 left, free to land.
Okay, 1,000 feet stable.
Missed approach altitude set.
Hong Kong Tower, good morning, taxi Delta, holding point Charlie 1.
Taxi Delta, holding point to Charlie 1, Korean Air 314.
Minimums.
Continuing. Check.
One 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, reverse is coming. Roll out.
Okay, 60 knots, manual braking.
Manual braking.
Minimums. One 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
8802 after the 747, now crossing the runway is clear. Left turn 5 Juliet 6, cross in active runway 07 right. After crossing, left turn Kilo Lima 2 Lima for parking bay X-ray 18.
Okay, master in sight, lights off please.
Okay, behind the 747, request Juliet 6, Kilo Lima 2 Lima.
Silver 625, left turn Sierra, Alpha, Tango, Foxtrot, Yankee, whole shot of Delta.
Left turn Sierra, Tango, Alpha, Foxtrot, and whole shot of Delta to West 625.
Roger, Delta, Sierra.
Okay, hi everybody. Finally, we have arrived destination Hong Kong. We're on parking bay X-ray 30. Flight time was 6 hours and 34 minutes, and our block time, so that's from the time we actually released the park brake to the time we reset, was 7 hours 12. And we arrived with 29.1 tonnes of fuel remaining, which meant we burnt on that particular sector 57 tonnes, 57.4 tonnes. It's a little damp here, but at least it wasn't a wet runway and the weather was pretty good. They cut us in quite a lot on the final approach, which meant that the track miles were reduced, and they wanted us to keep high speed. So Mark did a very good job, handled it very well. So yeah, it was a good flight. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks very much.